What is going on, Power Up fam? What's good? Welcome everybody in the chat. I see you, Taco Medics, Bottom Line, Navy, Anomaly. What's going on, guys? Miss Weekly, how are you? How's everybody doing, man? Welcome to the return of the Power Hour, man. Finally. Navy, thanks for the host, man, or the raid. Thank you already, bro. Let's get it. Man, so before we even get started crazy on this conversation tonight, for those of y'all who don't know, man, my name is Justin, aka Power Up, man. This channel exists to see people powered up so they can go out into the world and make a difference around them. I brought a special guest with me, man. This is our first time, literally, I think, in person together.
Yes.
She is a fellow streamer as well, and we met particularly off of Clubhouse, I believe, right? That's our first time legit meeting.
Clubhouse.
iPhone users in the house, you know what I mean? I'm gonna let her kind of introduce herself, but LexytheNOOB is that what you go by, right?
Yes, I go by LexytheNOOB, you guys. Hi. I am a Twitch streamer. I've been streaming for a little bit over 3 years. I guess I am a variety streamer, but I kind of mostly play MMORPGs. So like ESO, Black Desert Online, Phantasy Star, Fantasy, all those kind of games I play on my stream mostly. Yeah, I'm definitely excited for this conversation. If you guys want to check me out, my link is twitch.tv/LexytheNOOB.
Yeah, man. If you look on the screen right above us, right, is our logos and stuff. Obviously, they're all animated, which is pretty cool. Mine's kind of cartoony. Hers is cartoony, so it fits, man. It fits. So
it works.
Yeah, it works well, man. It works really well. And so I love the Batgirl theme kind of vibe. Like, it's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, I'm like a big Batman fan. So
I was about to say, are you a big DC or Marvel person? Which?
Actually, I like Marvel, but when it comes to DC, like Batman has my heart. So, yeah, that's how that goes.
Got you. I mean, in DC, have you watched? So, speaking of DC, they just dropped the Snyder Cut. Have you seen that yet?
I have not watched that yet because I haven't had the time to sit down and dedicate 4 hours to it. So I'm gonna try to watch it this weekend.
Yeah.
And see if I can make it all the way through.
Yeah, you literally have to take a whole block of like half your day to probably watch that movie.
Yep.
And it's like 4 hours, and then you need another 4 hours to probably digest and process everything that you just watched. Like, there's a lot.
A lot.
For sure. Well, above her, man, you guys can see it. LexytheNOOB is right there on her side where her camera's at. So I already got people in the chat saying they're hitting you up with some follows, so make sure y'all do that. Go give her some love, man.
I'll check those when I get off.
Yeah, most definitely. So we're gonna go ahead and just dive into this, man. There we go. So we already gave you the proper Power Up shout out. It says Power Up shout out all over the screen. Looking it up. Thank you. There you go, Anomaly. Let's go. Appreciate that. My wonderful mod, Mr. Anomaly, blasting it off. Let's go. Just a little background for those of y'all who are new to this and maybe have just recently followed the channel here on the Power Up channel, and for Lexy as well. This is her first time in on this. The Power Hour really, man, started back in 2019. Yes, I'm a gamer, but I'm more than that, man. I'm so much more than that, than just a gamer, as is Lexy. Lexy's more than just a gamer, right? There's more to us than just the gaming aspect, and that's kind of what I wanted this to be, is that when we put the headsets off, when we put the controllers down, at the end of the day, we have a real life that we all go to, and we have real issues that we have to deal with, man. And everybody has issues, everybody has problems, everybody goes through things, and the Power Hour is really just a place to hash out real world things that are going on around us. And sometimes it's for fun, obviously, discussions, but it's also here for the conversations that sometimes aren't so fun to have. Like, we've talked about everything from like abortion to faith and religion to systemic racism to everything in between, man. And it's been really, really powerful conversations. For those of y'all who have made it a point and have been here for some of those conversations, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, and that experience and those experiences. And you can catch some of that content on my YouTube channel, because some of it I've cropped and cut and thrown up there. So we may do that with this one too. So the conversation tonight, man, is very, I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. I just never knew when. And after watching the past couple weeks go by, I'm like, it seems like this might be the time to do it. Because it's open season out here, man. Everybody is getting shot at, man. There's shots being shot off everywhere in today's culture, man, all around us. And I just want to open the floor up to Lexy, man, off the rip. And just when you think about cancel culture, like, what comes to mind? That's the topic tonight, cancel culture. And if you're listening to this in the chat, let me know kind of what are your thoughts. When you hear cancel culture, how does that make you feel, and where do you vibe with? What are your thoughts on all of that? And so while we're letting the chat do that, I'm gonna let Lexy kind of give her thoughts, man. So Lexy, share with us, man, what do you think of?
So when I think of like cancel culture, it's always like some celebrity or some like internet personnel like getting canceled for something that they said or an action that they did, and people like, I don't support them anymore, or like a big debate around what was said or what actions this person should take to like rectify the situation. So it's usually like you go on Twitter, you always say like, hey, so and so was canceled because they said this like XYZ, years ago.
Yeah.
And then you just go through like the discussion, and if people are just like going off on each other, either agreeing or disagreeing about the whole situation and how it should be handled. That's what I think of when I think of cancel culture.
Yeah. I mean, you pretty much hit it spot on the head. I think everybody would agree that it's pretty much just and it's more or less towards a lot of someone who's a popular icon, right? Would you agree that it's a lot of people in more or less most of the time it's people who have some type of platform or stature and notoriety. They end up being the targets of cancel culture, of the groups of people that literally are the way I kind of view it. My brain is always on like a creative mindset, and my mind always goes into like pictures and like some kind of scene. And so for me, cancel culture looks like the ravens coming to just attack and just pluck you to death, and just like that's what I feel like cancel culture a lot of times is. Sometimes, man, they're just like surrounding, like,
good way to put it.
Like a vulture, man. Vulture is like, I guess is just the best word to describe it. Anomaly said in the chat, let's read some of the people in the chat. Cancel culture is necessary but also not necessary. Bottom line said, I love the Power Hour because it's always nice to hear other people's views and takes on things. Absolutely, it's why this is here, man. Absolutely. Anomaly said there's creators and influencers that do shady stuff, and they should be canceled and not supported for these terrible and horrible things. On the other side of the conversation, I don't think someone should be canceled over something that happened 7+ years ago. People change. Yep. Bottom line said, cancel culture kind of goes hand in hand with how sensitive the world has become. Because I choose to go live on social media and play video games and try to build a strong community of friends, you have to be very careful what you say, or it can be shut down overnight. Yeah. I mean, that's part of having a platform, man, is those things. And one of the things I've always told people, man, is that, like, so for those of y'all who don't know either, and Lexy, I don't know if you know this about me or not, but I'm a rapper turned streamer / streamer turned back to rapper. So like, and that's how me and Andre met. Me and Andre connected, and that's how me and Lexy connected, was through our mutual friend of Andre Arcade. Shout out to Andre. I don't know if you're in here, buddy, but appreciate you. We love you. Yeah. And so one of the things for me in music is that I ended up getting a job a couple years ago working at a place, it was called like a School of Rock, and they hired me to come in and teach kids how to rap and record their music. I got to teach kids how to rhyme, and which was really cool, and teach them like just hip-hop and how to write and record and just flow patterns, all these different things. But while I was doing that, there was a I remember a kid, like, I asked him who he listened to, and he told me all the artists he listened to. And then I remember being like, it was a bunch of like mumble rappers and different guys, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be great. I'm trying to teach this kid how to be a lyricist, and then like he's like, what is going on? But I remember one of the first things I told this guy was, I held the microphone up and I was like, this thing is a weapon, man. Like this microphone. And I was like, this is the most powerful thing. And I was like, when people think about what is the most powerful weapon in the world, like, I think matter of fact, that's how I asked him. I said, before I even held the mic up, I said, what is the most powerful weapon in the world to you? And he's like a rocket launcher. And I was like, yeah, like, I get that. And he was like, or like a machine gun, or like a rifle or something. And I was like, okay. And I was like, what about this? And I held the microphone up in front of him, and he was like, that's a microphone. I was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, but do you know that microphone has a lot of power? Like, meaning when you get up on a stage or any type of platform with one of these, or one of these that, you know, we wear on here, and we're up here in front of people, these microphones allow our voice to carry to other people. And what we say has power to either help and serve people, or it can be destructive and kind of jack stuff up. You know, we've seen that in the political climate. We've seen that in other places where people use their voice and use words, and they can promote and prompt and sway people to go a direction sometimes. I mean, do you agree with that, Lexi? Do you think that that's something like, you know what I mean?
Agree? Yeah, like, so, like, being a streamer, and being like a rapper, any kind of like public influence that you like, people see you, they're listening to you, you have influence over them. So like that is very powerful, because like they're listening to you, they're taking your ideas, and sometimes, you know, most people are like, they can determine, okay, you know, this is just bad information, or this is like, some people don't, they're like, oh, this is great information, I'm gonna like do what she does, or do it whoever does, because like, you know, they idolize you, they like, you know, or they like look up to you. So, you know, what you say, what you do in that spotlight, you know, is very powerful. And so,
yeah, absolutely,
like, yeah, so I agree with you when you said like the microphone is like the most powerful thing, especially like when you're being a rapper. I can totally agree, and I can understand why some people like kind of shy away from like the spotlight like that, because they don't want that like burden on them.
Yeah,
you know, like the whole thing, like a couple months ago when like Ninja, like who's one of the biggest streamers right now, you know, he told like parents like he's not responsible for teaching kids about like racial injustices and things of that nature. And like I can understand where he's coming from, because as a parent, you're supposed to parent your kid,
sure,
and teach them yourself,
right?
But you know, also as like someone that is like
highly
in that spotlight,
influential, you're very influential.
Yeah, you got like thousands and thousands of kids watching you, idolizing, looking up to you, saying, hey, I want to be a streamer like Ninja, like when I grow up. You kind of have that responsibility, because, you know, some kids, you know, they might not soak it in from their parents, but listening to somebody that they look up to say something about it, you know, they'll take it in, and they'll start like listening to it, you know, more. So yeah, that's,
like, I agree with you. I think that there's people who, you know, we have the ability to be an influence under, you know, to people, regardless, even if we signed up for it or not, right? Like sometimes you're like, well, this isn't what I signed up for per se, but it's like you kind of did if you if you signed a record deal with, you know, let's get to one of the let's talk about one of the people that it did get cancel culture recently started reaching on. Just talk about Eminem, for example. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that was first of all, we already know Eminem's been hit by millions and millions of different people trying to cancel him for years. It's not gonna happen, probably. That's probably not gonna happen, but it's like, I know there's been songs where even M says like, look, like I'm not responsible if your kids do X, Y, and Z by listening to my music. As much as I enjoy M as a lyricist, and I think he's super talented, I'm kind of like, bro, like, but there are kids that listen to you and borderline idolize you, and it's like, you have a big influence in how they're going to respond by listening to what you do. And I think that says a lot about, you know, somebody's character, right? It's like, yeah, I think it goes back to like, we have the freedom to say things, but at the same time, at what point do we use that freedom to do something with it? It's going to be destructive or constructive, right? What is it kind of doing? But that's kind of in the middle of what we're talking about. But I think really, like, when we're talking about cancel culture, like, there's good and there's bad and there's the ugly. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about tonight. Is I want to talk about those three areas, and then we're going to kind of wrap it all up and sum it up in some ways, and listen to you guys in chat. I know, let me see. Miss Weekly said, I agree with Anomaly. People can change. The world has changed, and I don't think you should cancel something can't be canceled over something you said 10 years ago. Facts. I also think there are lots of double standards between races and genders. Probably, yes. 100%. Anomaly said, for example, a male influencer could be canceled for something that happened 5 years ago and everyone would talk down on them so much. Then you have a woman that's in the same boat, but everyone forgives them, aka this they be simping. Oh my god. Jesus. Bottom line said that was funny to me that the latest cancellations was over a song that wasn't even that bad and honestly brought to light a real world situation that happened. I'm not sure, bottom line, what you're referring to right there, but oh, you might be talking about the Eminem thing. Okay. Because what was the song that Eminem's thing was over? Was that over Love the Way You Lie? Which I don't understand, because that whole song was about domestic violence.
Yeah.
It was about protecting people. Like, yo, like, it was to be honest about the real situations that go on. And at the end of the video, it was like, yo, if you have people that treat people like this, you need to call somebody. Like, I remember seeing that video. Like,
Me too.
it's crazy. That's crazy. Let me see. Miss Weekly said, exactly, Anomaly. Look at Johnny Depp. He lost everything over false accusations because he is a guy and had to be the bad guy. Even though Amber, I don't know, Amber Heard did do wrong.
Yep.
It was, hey, Candle, thank you so much. Candle Snacks, what's good? Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the Power Up fam. What's good? And that's his wife, Amber Heard. Oh, it was his wife. Okay.
That was his ex-wife.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know much about that situation. I didn't know about the Johnny Depp situation. That's new to me. Do you know much about that one?
Yeah. So like, cause I'm a big fan of Johnny Depp.
Me too. Me too. Yeah.
But like, yeah. So he was married to Amber Heard, and she was making all these false accusations, saying like Johnny like hit her and was beating her or whatever, and like. So they get to court, and it all comes out in these recordings that she's literally the one that's like hitting him, beating him, threatening to destroy his life. It was crazy. And so like, yeah, she finally got kicked off Aquaman, but it took them for the longest for her to get any kind of like repercussions about what she did. Cause like, and I can see where the double standards are coming in, because like if it was a guy immediately, and also what happened to Johnny, everybody's like, oh, Johnny did this, you know, whatever. And he lost so many movie deals because of it. And like, here we are, like, I think 3 years later, and she's now just finally getting kicked off of Aquaman too.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So that basically, like, it hit, and then he caught the blunt, the brute force of it, and she's kind of like, yeah, I see that. Yeah, that makes sense, man. That's crazy. I hadn't heard that she was replaced yet. Gina, aka Cara Dune, is one of the most recent ones from Disney. Yeah. And we were talking about that too. Actually, I was talking about that earlier before I got on here. We were talking with my wife and a few others about kind of that whole situation, right? Like, and I think there's some merit to that whole situation with the Mandalorian. Are you familiar with that situation too, with the chick from the Mandalorian getting kind of tossed off?
Like, I read about it, but not very familiar with it. I don't know exactly what she said.
I mean, I don't know the exact phrases, but the framework in short story is that there basically she was on Twitter and social media kind of around the time the political climate was at the climax, as you know, Biden was about to come in or whatever, and I think you know, she was making posts fairly often about, you know, they were kind of politically driven and just talking about like not wanting to wear a mask, doing all that kind of stuff, and then saying stuff about you know, her not agreeing with the pronoun situations, all those different things, and then like just kind of on that kind of thing. And my thing is like I'm all for it. For me, people that know me know, and my wife will tell you, I am very I'm a very blunt person too. I'm very like, I stand up for what I believe in. I'm 100% like, if I'm you know, and I'm a Christian. I love God, I love people, and at the end of the day, like I have my convictions and the things that I land on, but that may be different than Lexi. And so like there's things that like when we can say something and speak out on something or do whatever and say what we feel, but at some point too there has to be this like understanding of like, maybe I should maybe, am I being brash to be brash, or am I just saying this stuff to now just be a jerk to people because I know they're just going to be mad, and I'm just going to continue to be mad and make people just get all in their feelings about it, and I know this is what it's going to do, so I'm going to just do it anyways because I don't care what people think, right?
And like, and I feel like people have a hard time like distinguishing between that. Like, you know, you could say something like out of anger and like not necessarily have those particular viewpoints. You're just angry at that moment, but because they said it and somebody saw it and they took it the wrong way, you know, now they're facing cancellation. And, you know, it's very different than someone being like deliberately hateful, and they're always saying these kind of things like that. Okay, that's a reason to cancel somebody. Obviously they have these types of views, and then like, you know, that's not something you agree with, that should be something that you cancel. But it's also, you know, I think we've gotten to a point where like we feel like we have to fight, and that everybody has the same opinion, but it's not true. Everybody has different opinions about how things should be done, and just because, you know, you don't agree with somebody else's opinion doesn't mean that you should cancel this particular person because of those opinions. So, you know, like, I think people forget about that too.
I don't agree that, you know, the girl who Gina, who is from The Mandalorian, I don't think she should have lost her job from that at all. Like, regardless, like she made some whatever her stance was, it's like at the end of the day, like I don't think she should have lost her job by any stretch of the means. However, I'm also like, yo, like, were you saying some of this stuff just because you knew it was going to rile some people up? And like, I think that was poor timing. It's like you could have waited until later. Like, you know, the political climate is extra tight and intense right now, and you're going to say some things that are just like, this is really going to go out there. When you have that type of platform, again, it goes back to, you know, this is going to hit. You're part of one of the biggest shows on the planet right now, and you're gonna, you know, say some things. And I think too, like, we have to understand too, like, when you're a part of the corporate world, like, she works for Disney, and when Disney makes rules and they come to you and they say, Lexi, you probably should chill out on this, or it could, you know what I mean? Like, if you work for Best Buy or you work for whatever job you work for, it's like, dude, like, this can, if they address it, like, you kind of got to submit to that and figure out a way to not, or you're gonna lose your job. Like, that's with any job, right? Like, I don't know.
And like, I agree with that too. Like, I've seen like on social media, like people will say something, and obviously they know they're being like super negative and like hateful, and like, you know, people go and like find their employer and write them an email, and obviously these employers do not want this like bad reputation, so like these people lose their jobs. Like, I don't think people think about that when they're like, hey, I'm just gonna say this because, you know, I'm gonna make some people angry. Like, it's gotta think about things like this when you're doing that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, talking about like, you know, Gina's situation, like when you say some certain things and then you start talking about like the mask situation and not agreeing with the mask and these interfering with your rights or just whatever you feel like, it's like, yeah, we get that that's your freedom to feel that way, but it's that particular line, right? Like, talking about the mask, it is insensitive in the sense of like, yo, like, I personally know people who have lost loved ones to COVID. And so when people say stuff like that, I don't think they're being mindful and cognizant of the fact that like there are people who are dying from this. So when you say like, I don't care about wearing a mask, I think it's like, it's kind of like you're not saying that you don't care about my aunt who died or whoever, you know what I mean? But that's how it comes off to people.
Anyway,
and
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, and I can completely agree. Like, you know, with COVID, obviously, you know, best thing right now is to wear a mask. And if you're not agreeing with that, then like you're not putting yourself just at risk, but you're putting other people at risk by doing that as well. And then like with her being like a public figure on this massive like show for Disney, one of the biggest like media companies in the world.
Yeah.
You know better. Like, what are you thinking? Like, you could just count that privately. Okay, have that private thinking.
Right.
But then you come out publicly and now you got people wondering like, you know, she says she doesn't really wear a mask. Maybe I don't. And then you're putting more people at risk. So, like,
but
I can understand why
that goes back to,
but I don't think she lost her job, you know?
Yeah, no, facts. And I think that's what we were saying earlier is like, what we say as influencers, whether we're here, right, where we're at now on Twitch with, you know, X amount of viewers, and it starts how we do things now, because when you're at that type of level, your influence is so high, man. And sometimes people, I don't think they know it, but they don't think that it's their responsibility. And ultimately, yeah, like there's people have to take responsibility for themselves and have self-control, but there is the power of influence. Like, people influenced you and I probably to stream, right? Like, to even get on here is an influence from somebody else in our life that gave us the courage and the push that we needed to get here. And so, like, everybody uses influence in some way, shape, or form. Even from your parents, from an early age, there's influence, and all of that matters. So when you have somebody who's polarizing as a Mandalorian episode, and you watch this and you really idolize Star Wars, and this girl comes out and you're like, man, I love this chick, she's so cool, and then you follow her on all social media, and now you're paying attention and you kind of feel this way too, and now it's all I need is to hear that, and then it makes you not wear a mask, which in turn, if you have COVID, could lead to somebody else, like you said, causing somebody else to probably die that didn't need to. And I think that's just what it is like, though we have a freedom to do something, yes, you have a freedom to not wear your mask as a human being. If you don't want to, I get it, but it's putting others before yourself, right? Like, thinking of somebody else, you know?
Not being selfish, like, it's not just about you, it's about those around you. You got to be considerate of everybody else. Just because, you know, you're fine and healthy doesn't mean the next person beside you is going to be able to fight COVID, or, you know, is not going to die of COVID. So, you know, it's something you really have to think about.
Miss Weekly said, yeah, I mean, I understand that, but at the end of the day, it's like, if we let companies and government tell us what we can and can't say, how much further are they going to take it? She said, yeah, but to me personally, the things with James Gunn, I don't know who James Gunn is, was much more upsetting than what Gina was saying, and yet Disney hired him back. I don't even know what James Gunn said. Do you know anything about that one?
I don't. I really don't know who he is. I think he might be involved with Pirates of the Caribbean, but I'm not sure.
Okay. So,
somebody might have to correct.
Yeah, you have to explain that one, Miss Weekly. If you are setting yourself up as an influencer, then you have to hold yourself to a higher standard, because you will have people following what you say, and you are responsible for that, because you are placing yourself in that position. Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Oh, so James Gunn is from Guardians of the Galaxy. What you have to explain what the situation was, what happened, because I'm not up to speed on that one per se. But yeah, I think there is some merit though to the idea of let's talk about this. We'll go ahead and start on this one. She said he had inappropriate pictures and messages of young kids and sexual content. Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
And he got his job back on Guardians. On Guardians, yeah.
Galaxy.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that one. I don't know why he got his job back and Gina lost hers. You know what I mean? He got fired from Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, oh, he got fired, but then they brought him back. Miss Weekly said, I don't know nothing about it, so I guess he's back. He got rehired for Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
So here's my thing, right? He had inappropriate pictures and messages of young kids. Was that currently, like, did that happen like years ago? Did they find that years ago? Or was that something that was going on like now? Like, you know what I mean? Because, and I think this is the thing too, is that let's talk about the good, Lexi. Let's talk about, so is there, what good comes from, because I was talking to my wife about this earlier, and it was like, I was telling her we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and her first response was, what good comes out of cancel culture? And I said,
cancel culture.
Yeah, and I was like, well, you know, for me, I feel like the good that can, doesn't always, but I believe can come to some degree from cancel culture, is the idea of accountability. I feel like it's a way, there are pieces of it to hold other human beings that have platforms and voices of influence kind of accountable for the things that they say or do, right? More than maybe it's ever been, because obviously back in the day there's a lot that you could have got away with that you probably couldn't get away with now. I mean, so Lexi, I mean, like, I'll bounce that off of you. What do you think is maybe the good that can come from
a good from like council culture, I guess? Is more like you see those racial injustices like in certain like movies, films, things of that nature that like slipped or were just like undertones that people just like passed by, didn't realize or understand. And then when they're brought up, you know, people educate themselves. Okay, then this particular thing happened. Okay, let's avoid those kind of things in the future. Or, you know, by, you know, the whole transgender situation, there's like a lot of people don't know, you know, what it means to be transgender or, you know, what they go through. And, you know, with council culture, you know, things that are being said, people are like educating themselves more to, you know, not be so offensive there, to kind of, it helps people to like understand that there are cultural differences, you know, gender differences, and that not everybody is the same. And that's a lot of things that you see with like cancel culture is people, you know, start to think there, like the whole thing, it wasn't necessarily cancel culture, but it was a lot of like studios were taking like figures that were kind of like racial stereotypes and changing them, or changing like voice actors for like black characters that were, you know, voiced by white actors to actual black characters, or like the whole Angel Mama thing, like her name's now changed, they don't even use that anymore, and you know that comes from like slavery time. So
yeah,
or like the Gone with the Wind now having like the slavery like warning message about it too. So things like that, you know, that in the past were like, okay, this is, you know, whatever, you know, fine and dandy. Right. Now we understand that those are
might have not been so good,
yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, and I think as you were saying that, something that came to my mind was just as a human being, just for me personally speaking, like I think about, there are things in my life that you can look back on and be like, you know, in the moment, you're probably like, there's no harm in this. You just go and do things, especially as a younger kid and adolescent, you just doing what you do in your youth. And it's like, I think that there are moments as you grow up and you get older, you realize and you look back on it and you're like, you start rethinking your past and you're like, you know what? I see what this did, and that was probably a bad idea. And probably what I did here in this moment when I was in high school, it probably made that one guy, like, I really was bullying that kid. You know what I mean? Like, I was a jerk. And acknowledging it and then going back and kind of being like, look, man, like, I know I don't have to come to you and apologize for this, but look, man, I said some stupid stuff, and I'm older now and I see what I did, and that was dumb. And I'm not going to do it again. So I think about, like, there are those moments in, you know, in entertainment and other places where we let a lot of things maybe slip through the cracks that shouldn't have been there. And as people are forming and growing, there's pieces that people are like, hey, do we see this? Is this, what is this? You know what I mean? And we can either acknowledge it and say, man, yeah, that was kind of dumb. Or it's like, that stuff never bothered me when I first saw it, so it's not a big deal. It's like, yeah, it didn't bother a lot of us, but when we look back at it, it's like, that might have not been so good. And
yeah.
You know, let me see, let me catch up in the chat real quick. He got rehired for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. They rehired him. The reason that he got fired was for offensive tweets. The pictures were never even acknowledged by Disney. Interesting. So it wasn't the pictures, it was tweets. I don't know. It was recently found, but apparently it happened a few years ago. Right. And so that goes into the bad, I think, Miss Weekly, is like, it's the bad parts about cancel culture is that, like Bill Cosby, for example, like that junk sucks. Bill Cosby did some stupid stuff like that we found out about later, way later. But the fact that, and obviously he, you know, you got to face those things that you did, right? Like you reap what you sow, those things come back to you. But canceling him as like a person is like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? Like, I think that people change. It's been how long since those things happened? I don't know Bill Cosby like that. For all I know, this dude is way different than what he was when he was doing some of that stuff, right? Like, because we don't know that guy personally or that girl, and we cast this judgment on the person that what happened then is exactly who they are today. And it's like, Lord forbid, like somebody had a camera or has access to stuff I did when I was a kid. You know what I mean? And they bring that junk up in front of you guys today. You guys probably be like, hey, what's this about? Cancel Justin. He's out. Power Up's out. Like, Lexy's out. Get him out of here. Like, wait a minute. We'd all be like, hold on. Like, that, I was 8 years old. Hold on. Let me explain, man. Like, I don't know. Like, does that like, Lexy, how do you feel about that? Like, is that true to you? Does that resonate? Or
like, yeah, like, so, and I think, like it was said earlier, like things that were done in the past, like, shouldn't really matter. Like, and not when I mean like in the past, I mean like in the last few years. I mean, like, let's say like 5, 10, 15, 20 years in the past, these people have changed there. Or if, you know, or before we cancel them, let's look and see, have they even tried to change? Have they like been having this continual behavior over time?
Correct.
But if it's something that they said like 20 years ago,
right,
and they haven't said anything about it in the last like 15, you know, 17 years, you know, that's kind of stuff that, why are we even like bringing that stuff up? Like, yeah, that stuff that should be like dead and buried. Yeah, because you know, some people don't change, but a lot of people do. Like the person I was in my like teens, I'm not today. So yeah, you know, facts. Evolve.
Yeah, man, you change, man. You grow up, you mature, 100%. Andre said today they announced Hulk Hogan is going to be hosting WrestleMania this year. It definitely caused an uproar. The good is people take the repercussions of their actions more serious. And he said the bad, where do we start? Right. So I don't remember. I remember Hulk Hogan, something happening with him. What was that whole situation? Do you remember, Lexy? I don't remember.
He got caught saying the N-word.
On one of his interviews?
So yeah, and it was just like yeah, because you know his kind of persona, you know, things that he say are kind of like yeah, so that's what he got a lot of uproar about. So,
and that was,
I remember when that happened.
I'm about to say, he was getting interviewed live on TV, and I think you said it, didn't he?
I don't remember what it was. I know also it was like one of the daughters, I think, was like talking to somebody that was black, and he didn't like it at all either. So that came off. Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah, that's not a good look. But I mean, but even some of that is like, people don't want Hulk Hogan. It's like, yeah, but how long ago has this been? Can we give somebody some room to change? Like, I think that's the thing too, is like, looking at it from a personal perspective is like, if I did something stupid and I was one way and I got in trouble, do we give room for people to improve? I think that's the question, right? Are we giving any room for people to get better? Because sometimes I feel like what cancel culture does is you mess up once, we find out about it once, this one, like Hulk Hogan had a moment and that thing, or well, I guess once with the word, and then he did something over here with his daughter. It's like, okay, how long ago was this? And now that you're coming back, have you changed a way that's notable? Can we trust this guy? Because, and I think that's ultimately why people are in an uproar probably, Andre, is because it's like, how is this guy any different, or are we just letting, you know, I don't know. And I think there's some grace. Hopefully we have some grace with people, because I think that Lexy, I would assume, if she does wrong and messes up and says something that hurts somebody or hurts a group of people on purpose or accident, 6 years later, I hope I can look over at Lexy and be like, you know, I know you did something wrong, but let's just see if she's changed a little bit. You know what I mean? Or like, hopefully she can do the same thing for me and be like, you know, Justin, it's been a while. Let's see if anything's changed. And then like, if I start showing signs that, nope, this dude's the same guy, then yeah, like, you got to go back, bro. You got to get back in your corner. Like, you know?
So I looked it up because like, it's been a while. It was back in like 2015 with the whole Hulk Hogan thing. But like, yeah, it apparently was like leaked audio when he was on like a radio show.
Yeah, was the audio from like a different time, or was it around the same time as 2015?
It didn't say. It just said it was some leaked audio from a radio page. No, it was okay. So this is back in 15. He said this was like 8 years ago. So this is like probably back in the early 2000s when he said all this stuff. But yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it has been 6 years, you know, but still.
I mean, so as obviously as somebody who obviously probably would never want that word being used, it's like, how do you feel about Hulk Hogan's situation and him coming to WrestleMania? Like, I know you're not a big maybe you are a big wrestling fan. Are you, or are you not? Or
I was.
I used to be.
I was growing up. Like, my favorite was The Rock growing up, and then
Rock is
and like yes, and then on WCW, I love like the New World Order. So yeah, I agree with all that stuff.
So you rocked with Hulk Hogan then?
Yeah. So like I did, and so I mean, like Andre said in chat, like his apology wasn't that apologetic. It's like he hasn't really done or said anything about it since then. So it's just like, why are we even bringing him back? Like I feel like, yes, times he changed. He might have changed, but like, has he shown us that he's changed? That's the big thing with me when it comes to like cancel culture. Like, have you showed us that you are doing better? You're not trying to say these things, or, you know, have those kind of mentalities that you had before. So I technically don't agree with it. I don't want it to happen, but that's my opinion of it.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Slaughter said, nah, things like Bill Cosby deserve what they get. Sexual assault, child abuse, and battery aren't something you just grow out of. Well, I didn't say you just grow out of. I'm just saying people change, and like, people can get help. So if he did something with some women and did stupid stuff that was really bad, I'm not saying that you grow. I don't think people grow out of that, but that's a mental thing, right? That's a mental thing that you got to go get checked out. And we don't know if dude did. I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he has. I don't know him. You know what I mean? And that's all I'm trying to say is, like, I would hope that I just have enough. I would hope I have enough even for the. Even I'm gonna just go as far as to say this, and this is probably a stretch, but even somebody who, if somebody, Lord forbid, man, that somebody killed my daughter, if somebody killed my kid, would I have enough in me forgiveness, enough mercy and grace with someone? Grace means, for those of y'all who don't know what that means, you get something that you don't deserve. I'm letting, like, you don't deserve to go free, but I'm gonna let you go free, right? And so for me is like, I would hope that within me, like, I feel like I feel like even somebody who did something horrific as that and killed my daughter, that I would be able to find it within me to be able to look at that person 5 years later in a jail cell. Though you get, yeah, you're gonna reap that. That person's gonna go through that on this side of the earth, right? Like, you got to go through that. You do the crime, you do the time, right? Like, you killed my kid. Yes, you're gonna have to do this. But human to human, can I look at this person and be like, man, like, it's been 7 years, man, or even 6 months. I hope there's a way in my heart that I could learn to forgive and look at this person and try to still love that person even still, because that to me shows maturity on the person who's looking at the person that's doing the damage, that did the damage. That shows maturity on you as a person who can look at somebody like that and forgive. Because I've heard stories of people that have done that, and I'm like, that seems absurd. How could somebody forgive somebody that has killed their child or their kids? Like, that's hard. I could never imagine doing that. And so I think that's kind of what I'm saying is, like, Bill Cosby doing something so long ago. How long ago was that? What, 40 years ago? 30?
Oh, wow.
28, 30, that's a long time. And lots of things can happen in that long time. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that dude is a saint, but can we have that type of, you know, spot? The day you stop maturing and changing is the day you die. If something happened 10 plus years ago and it hasn't happened recently, we should move on. Let you who is without sin cast the first stone. Yeah, I mean, facts. Exactly, Hellfire. I think a lot of people have stopped having grace with people. It's all about me, and not thinking of others. We say things because it's our right, and we don't care about how it makes other people feel. Nail on the head, Miss Weekly. I mean, Cosby was found guilty in court of those things. I mean, I believe in rehabilitation above all, but there has to be consequences for the actions. Right, but what I'm saying is like, cancel culture doesn't leave room, though, is what I'm saying. Is that, and like I said, Slaughter, there is consequences for those things, right? Like, you can literally be like, Cosby's gonna live out his rest of his life in jail and probably die there, right? But that doesn't, I guess, like, you know, for somebody who's like, we literally just, as a human, we just say, like, you know, screw that guy, he's the worst. And it's like, yeah, he did something really dumb back in the day. And I think that's what I'm saying, I guess, is like, I think there's a difference in saying something offensive and doing something offensive. Yeah, because I mean, it's taking your actions and turning them into words, or excuse me, taking your words and turning them into actions. Like, there's definitely a big difference in saying something, for sure. I agree. There is a difference between I can say I'm going to punch you, but it's not the same as if I actually punched you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a like, yeah, I hear you. You said you're gonna punch me, but you never did. And then you turn around and then you do it, and then it's like, oh, hold up. Like,
good point. Yeah, I agree. There is a difference between the two.
Facts.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
The whole council culture. I don't think we take that into like an account either. We're just like, I'm going to counsel. I'm not going to support this person. I'm not going to do this or that just because, you know, something that they say. And it kind of has the same weight as, you know, them actually physically doing something in some cases too.
Yeah, I mean, so Andre, to your point, I agree. If you said, if I rob a bank today, I'm still owed consequences, whether it's next week, 20 years from now, after even being a changed man. That's facts. That's 100% true. 100% true. So like, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying like, yo, like, if you, Cosby's situation, going back to that, because I think that's what we're talking about, is like, you did this, it comes back up 30, 40 years later, you're gonna have to eat that bullet regardless. Like, he's gonna have to, because he did that. I'm saying the canceling of a person, like, meaning like society casts you out and says like, screw him, he's not even a human anymore. We dehumanize someone. What happens to you in the government, right, and how you are handled with the stature of the rules and regulations of the land that we live in, you got to deal with that. But for us as human beings to another human being, that's what cancel culture is. Cancel culture is not dealing, that's not a government made thing. That's just humans being human and just saying,
Society, yeah.
Society saying you made a mistake today, you made it 5 years ago, you made it 30, 40 years ago, and we're going to hold that up to your face and say, now you lose everything because of it. Even not just your job and everything you have, but we're also going to just say, we're going to dehumanize you now and say, we're going to treat you like trash. And I think that's where the cancel culture goes bad or ugly, really. If we want to get to the good, the bad, the ugly, we've already talked about maybe some of the good that can come from it. And we, like I said earlier, for me, the good is there is some accountability, right? It can hold people accountable, sharper, more strict of accountability to, like, your words matter, your actions matter. But then on the same token, like, the bad in that is that it can go so far as to where it starts to really dehumanize people. And when it starts to dehumanize people, I think that's where we hit the ugly. You know what I mean? Like, the ugly part of it. I think it's just a slippery slope to try and define, oh, that's bad behavior, we cancel you, and it's an immediate knee-jerk reaction. It's like, we can learn from our mistakes, but cancel culture isn't going to let you do that. It's yes.
Exactly.
They don't give you time. There's no, or like, they don't even think of, there's a lot of not thinking about like looking in the mirror, right? Like, yo, like, I've done some pretty stupid stuff too. Like, I can have a little bit of room to kind of see somebody. And so now, obviously, we have the actions part, like the Cosby stuff. That's a different situation. But at the same time, like, dehumanizing a person, I think is what we're on now, is talking about that, where cancel culture will literally take it to the point where for even something that you've said, not even actions, they will dehumanize you for. Like, I don't agree with Lexi and her political stance. So guess what? You're not human anymore to me. I don't
Outcast your son.
Yeah, you know? Let me see. Every crime has statute of limitations. Armed robbery in most states is 5 years, but we aren't canceling bank robbers. Cancel culture is targeting people telling racy jokes on Twitter 10 plus years ago. That is very true. We dehumanize people very quickly. Well, the thing is, these people are being dehumanized. We aren't dehumanizing. So, hold on. The thing is, these people are being dehumanized. These people that are being dehumanized are dehumanizing. So many people. Right. I mean, they were dehumanizing people. Right. And I think that's what, I guess, like, for me is like, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. And it's like, I understand they may dehumanize me. Does that give me a right to keep dehumanizing them? Because if we keep doing that, at what point are we, the cycle just keeps repeating itself. Because it's like, you know what I mean? Lexi slaps me, I slap her, she slaps me. It was back and forth. And it's like, at what point does somebody say to stop and just say, look, man, you dehumanize me, and I'm done. I don't want to dehumanize you anymore. I see you for who you are. Zay Teggy, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the Power Up fam. Welcome. Yeah, like exactly what she just said. What point does it stop? And at what point do we say, yes, you dehumanize first, but does that make it okay for me to dehumanize? Because it's a vicious, and it's a very ugly cycle, and it screws us up. You know what I mean? I personally never agreed with this. Oh, okay. We've always had a culture of loving seeing other people fail. The more people we can cancel, the better we'll feel about ourselves. It's true. The difference is the person is in the spotlight. Yeah, exactly. A person. And we talked about that for sure. Miss Weekly said, but time periods are different. So any guy who told his wife to stay in the kitchen or go make them a sandwich shouldn't be canceled. Yeah. Back then, I mean, that was like kind of a common thing. And it's like now, nah, bro, you ain't saying that. You gonna get...
You're not saying that to me. I'm sorry.
Ain't happening, cuz. Ain't happening. Slaughter said, like Gina Carino, for example, and not taking pronouns seriously. Yeah, I mean, we talked about that too. And it's like, I don't believe she should have lost her job over her. That's her view. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think she should have lost her job, but I definitely think there should have been some consequences in the sense of like, I don't know what that would look like per se, but I think there's some like, there should be some retaliation in that of like having at least a respect for other people's, like, you know what I mean?
I think it's more like we're counseling people, but then we don't think about like some of the things that we've done and said and our actions there. We just all get wrapped up into like, this person's counseled because they said this, but like, okay, if somebody did it to you, like, how would you feel? Somebody brought like your text message that you sent like 5-10 years ago to somebody out into the public light, and like everybody now is saying that you're like an outcast or shunned or whatever. Like, how would you feel? Like,
right.
That's something that we need to think about when we're trying to like counsel people. It's you know, it's mentally, like, it wears out on these people that have been canceled. I'm not saying that like they shouldn't have to face their consequences of the action. They definitely should, but we also are in this phase now where we're always talking about like mental health this, mental health that, but then we're also counseling these people, dehumanizing them. That's just tearing them down and tearing down on their mental health too. So that's also something you got to think about when it comes to like cancel culture. Like,
yeah,
which we should.
Yeah, no, agree, 1000%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Navy. Yeah, back then it was a way of life. Now it's just an insult to say anything or talk about like women being in the kitchen or doing something like that. It's just not. Yeah, it's not cool anymore. Slaughter said, so many trans folks are constantly the butt end of a joke. That's only further propagated by people in the spotlight like Gina. I don't know. I don't know. I think I don't know, man. I get what you're saying. That there's a lot of people who are the butt end of jokes that are from that community, and there's a lot of people who've had a lot of rough experiences being in that, for sure. Dragon, you gotta just redeem that. You have to save that for later. We'll have to redeem those points back to you, because that's gonna be those are new channel points that you can use. Not right now, but later. Not during the conversations. Sorry, I should have disabled them for right now. But people are so quick to judge people based on what they did in the past and present before they look at themselves to see what they did themselves. Right. I mean, that's maybe a topic for another day, I guess. But I mean, Lexi, how do you feel about, you know what I'm saying, like, people who are just like, and Slaughter, maybe you can educate me, because I don't know exactly what Gina said about the pronouns and all that kind of stuff about people. What is your view on somebody who just says, like, you know, I don't know why, you know, I'm not really with, you know, necessarily having to be called she, if I'm a woman, and I feel like I don't have to be, you know, she, he, like, that stuff doesn't bother me. Or whatever, like, what is your view on that, like, per se? And I know that's like a very risque conversation, but at the same time, like, it's a relative one, and it's something that people do get canceled over. So it's like, how do you view that, right? What is your stance on some of that?
So, like, my whole entire stance is, like, as a person, like, if you feel that you want to be called a certain pronoun, then we should just respect it as that particular person, and, you know, call them whatever pronoun that they want to be, you know, called. It doesn't hurt me to call you whatever pronoun that you are. Like, I think people are just like, I'm one of those people, I guess I like to like kind of like mind my business. So like if it
Right.
doesn't bother me or affect me or my loved ones or my family, then like okay, cool. Like I respect everybody
Sure.
and like, you know, what they want to do, and I try to support everybody, you know, no matter what. But I don't feel like they necessarily should be the butt end of jokes and like conversations. Like when you're getting into that aspect of it, when you're like people are out here making these statements and making these like communities butt end of jokes, being hurtful and things of that nature, then that's something that definitely needs to be canceled and stopped. But like saying, hey, I don't necessarily agree with this because
Right.
of me, like my religious views or whatever the case may be, you know, that's their opinion, you know, and that's okay to disagree with somebody and their opinions there. We don't need to cancel them because they have a different opinion or anything. If they're not going out of their way to be like evil, mean, you know, dehumanizing to a particular group of people or, you know, whatever they're saying, then like why
Right.
are we even trying to cancel them at this particular point?
Right.
So that's
No,
my
yeah,
whole
yeah. I
about
yeah.
it.
I see. Yeah, I can agree with that. I think too, like, yeah, I mean, because it doesn't hurt me if you want to be called, if I see you as a woman and you say Lexi, you're like, well, I want to be called him, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's why, like, when I talk about Lexi, that's him. You know what I mean? And you know, and I think that's definitely a readjusting of the mind for people because we're not used to that. Off the rip, you know what I mean? We see somebody from a distance, you try to figure out, is this a man or a woman? Most of the time we're trying to figure out, like, you know what I mean? That's one of the first things we do is you see something, you look at it. Like when you see a deer, you try to figure out, is this a deer or is that a goat or is that a bull? What is that? You know what I mean? And
Right.
those things, that's what we do as just human, identifying something. And so being is how we obviously can communicate, you can do that. You know, but it's hard because it's like, yo, like, I don't know you, so how do you do that? And so like I'm not, I think Gina's situation, like I read his thing a second ago, Slaughter said, basically she said her pronouns are beep and boop. Oh my God. Because she thought it was dumb that people were putting their pronouns on social media profiles. Basically people, hey Athena, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the Power Up fam. What's good? Basically, hold on, people tried to explain why it was important, that she basically doubled down and called it dumb. And see, now that's where for me is like, why would she, like, I think there's that thing where it's like, is it even okay though to be a person that says, I don't agree with the whole pronoun thing? Is it okay to be a person that says that, right? Can you be that person in today's like environment and say, I don't really, I think man is man and woman is woman, and I don't really, you know, I know you want to be called her, but I kind of see you as this, and you gotta, out of respect, say that, right? I get that, but if you don't really agree, if you just publicly just overall, like, I mean, for my friends, yes, but if like I see somebody who's at Subway and I accidentally bump into him and I'm like, hey, sorry ma'am, I'm sorry, and she goes, I'm not a ma'am, I'm a sir, and then you get in trouble, how do you react in that? Like, you know what I mean? Because you're just reacting off of what you see. So it's like, how do you respond in those moments, right? Like, I think that's probably a lot of people's pushback. Like, and that's probably mine. Maybe for me is like, I don't understand fully it, but I will respect someone who maybe that's a friend or a person that believes that they want to be this and that's their pronoun. Then cool. Like you said, Lexi, it doesn't hurt me to call you that. Like, it's not gonna, you know?
And I can see why they would put it on social media because,
Right.
like you said before, when we see them first glance, you know, we're going off like, what is it? Is the female, male, she, they, you know, non-binary, whatever. But, you know, putting it on your social media, that's how we know how to address you when we first, you know, meet you. Hey, okay, you know, the picture might look like, you know, a female, but, you know, in the bio they may say like they or they. So, you know, I'm gonna address that person by they instead of like she. So like I can see why that in things of that nature. But as far as like, you know, her saying that was just in bad taste.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I think she just had,
in my opinion.
yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think that's bad taste. And for you, not you, I'm talking about like for Gina to say like, it's to double down on it and just be like, call it dumb or whatever, then that's now you're using hurtful, like you're just calling it dumb.
Yeah.
It's like, well, now these people are dumb. So then it's like, that's not cool. You know what I mean? Like when you don't know what these people have been through, you don't know what they go through, and then you're now calling them dumb, and it's just like, that doesn't help anybody by doing that. Like, you know what I mean? So let me see. Hellfire said, I will say this about the LGBTQ. There has definitely been some major injustices served them, but I see them attacking straight people, I think is what he's meant to say. Straight people. Straight
cis.
Oh, straight cis. Okay. Is that what that means? Straight cis? I didn't even know that. Okay. I'm uneducated on that one. That's the first time I've seen that. And it makes very hard to openly support them when they are turning into the beast that they have tried to defeat. Well, that goes back to what we said earlier. Like, you dehumanize somebody that dehumanized you, and then it just becomes this cycle. So it's like, hurt people. Really, that's really what it boils down to. Like,
too much.
You know what I mean? Like, when someone's hurt, the way that they can feel comfort for themselves is to just hurt back. And that never gets anybody anywhere, man. Like, if we keep doing that, like, it's just gonna keep going and going. It's like, yo, like, we have to figure this out, man. Matt, hey, Jokester, what's up, man? Pronouns don't hurt people. People just can be mean about that they don't understand. Yeah, that's true. I mean, for example, Family Guy to me and South Park were way more over the top than Pepe Le Pew, and I found them way more offensive. Yeah. I mean, and I mean, I'm gonna be honest, man. I think the Pepe Le Pew thing is kind of silly. Like,
I do too.
Like,
I agree. It is.
It's kind of silly, man. Like, cause it's like, bro, if we're gonna get Pepe Le Pew, like, it's now, like, it's okay. Well, let's get, what's her name, man? Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy better be under attack too. You know what I mean? Cause she was all over Kermit, and Kermit ain't want it. He's like, nah, bro. Miss Piggy, I don't want you, girl. Back up. You know. And it's just gonna be a never-ending cycle. You take Pepe Le Pew, or we're gonna take this, and you take this, or we're gonna take that, and it's just back and forth. And it's just never-ending. Yeah, I didn't understand what they meant until a few weeks ago. I made fun of it, and someone explained it to me. I would have totally been canceled. Slaughter said, I don't think someone's gender identity is something you can agree or disagree with. I think it's something that is decided by that person. In fairness, those cartoons are made and aimed for adults. Looney Tunes was made for kids. I mean, that's true. It's true. South Park was rated M, blatantly. You knew if you were watching it was an adult thing, but it was still a lot. There was a lot of risky stuff. Like, bro, like, there's some stuff they were really offensive about.
Slipping into cartoons that were made for kids. Like,
yeah.
You go back, watch like Rocko's Modern Life. Like, he worked in like a phone sex line and like all kind of different stuff in like cartoons that were like for kids. So like, and if you were a kid like I was watching South Park. So it was just like, oh, obviously you're gonna get that kind of stuff, no matter if it's made for kids or adults. If it's offensive, it's offensive. So, yeah.
Non-binary. Okay, so about like they're talking about they. What does the word they mean? Yeah. And in fairness, as a kid, I never saw any of that. I just thought it was funny. Adults made it into something bad. Yeah. I mean, I watched Pepe Le Pew, and I never walked away thinking this dude's trying to rape this girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I don't think black, white, everybody watched that show, and we never walked away being like. I mean, I'm not saying that it didn't happen, because there probably was some kid who probably took it and tried to act like Pepe Le Pew. But most of us probably looked at it like, this dude's weird, bro. Like, why you keep messing with this cat? Leave that cat alone, man. Right. Andre said 2021 is complicated. Oh my god.
It is super complicated.
Difference is folks are the majority and hold the power in most situations, and LGBTQ folks have to fight for representation. I can see that. I can see that. But I think that, does that equal people be like, does it mean to continue to treat violence with violence? Do we still got to do that? Does that still mean that's the case? You know what I mean? I don't think, you know, I don't know. That's a whole nother discussion, man. You know, we're talking about cancel culture. But I guess, you know, those people are people that do get canceled. You know what I mean? Like, you can't say that they're not, because they definitely do. Pepe Le, wait, hold on, I missed Andre. Or no, Athena said Pepe Le Pew seems like a smokescreen to distract us from things that matter. Quite possibly. I feel like the level of offense nowadays is heightened by 1,000. Nowadays, I don't even tweet jokes anymore. I mean, it's probably best not to, because a lot of times you just never know, man. Like, I think one of the worst professions to probably be in now is being a comedian. It's got to be hard. Like, that has to be a hard job, man. Like, could you imagine Lexi trying to write jokes? Like, how am I gonna say this is gonna offend this person? This is probably gonna offend this person. It's like, how do I not just offend one set of people? You know what I mean? I've been in a relationship with a trans girl and a non-binary individual. There's definitely a huge learning curve on how to interact with people that identify as, but it boils down to respect. Yeah, I mean, I get that 1,000%. I always feel like anything I say might be offensive to someone, even if it's not intended. The level of softness is high. I don't really think it's sensitivity. I think it's just a lot of folks have had enough and are finally letting their voices be heard. Yeah, I think there's layers of both, Slaughter. I think there's layers of people that are just finding things to get mad about, especially in cancel culture. But I also think that there's people that are, you know what I mean, like, legitimately, like, because, you know, we can't say that everybody in cancel culture that's a part of, like, trying to just shut everybody out that does any one thing wrong. Like, some of these people aren't making these moves and gestures just because they feel like whatever this person said attacked them. They're just because, well, my friend here, like, you know, said that this is bad, I should just do it. And so they just automatically roll with it. And you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know how you can be a comedian anymore either, Miss Weekly. Absolutely not. It doesn't. It's got to be tough, man. Yeah, I mean, unless you're Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is a mastermind. He'll hit everybody. You know what I mean? It's literally like South Park.
He does.
South Park hits everyone.
I saw him live last year.
Oh, for real?
And like, yeah, yeah, I did. He came to Asheville, like back in not last year, but like in
December 2019. Are you in Asheville, North Carolina?
No, I am like 90 minutes away from there, not that far.
Bruh, you know I'm in Raleigh, right?
Really?
Yeah, look at that, Carolina in the building, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, he came and like, yeah, he just hits on everybody, like, no matter what. No matter what demographic you are, he hits on them all. And like at his shows, like his audience is everybody. It's not like one group of people. It's everybody there to watch Dave Chappelle. So I think that's how he has his little superpower, because he just hits on everybody and everybody's there to watch.
Yep. Yeah, everybody gonna get hit. Like, there's nobody gonna probably leave and then not feel like they were somewhat slapped up a little bit. Let me see. We're getting ready to wrap this thing up, man. Here in a minute. I'm trying to just catch up. I know there's a lot of people talking in the chat, which is great, man. A lot of people engaging in the conversation, which is dope. Let me see. Comedy is meant to be provocative. It's when it's being pointlessly rude that it's not cool anymore. Right. I agree. Were people identifying as multiple people before recently, or is this a new thing? I'm totally new to this, Andre. Hey man, me and you both to some degree, man. Like, I mean, I know about it. I've been educated to some degree, but there's still a lot that I gotta learn. And I'm down to be educated, man. Like, I'm down to learn. You know, I'm not one of those people who's like, I can't sit down and learn nothing. I'm not trying to hear nothing. Mike Dex, thanks for the hose, man. Miss Weekly said, but I think you are labeling that to just a group of people. Everyone is cancel culture. Everyone is cancel culture. Aren't feeling injustice. I don't really understand that one per se, but Athena said it's not really multiple people all the time. They just don't want to be confined to gender. Oh, okay, so they just means they're not confined to one specific,
they're
right?
Non-binary.
Okay.
Yeah, they're non-binary.
They're just jumping on a bandwagon to go with the crowd. Yeah, we're talking about like people that do cancel culture. Oh, okay, Miss Weekly, you were saying that everyone in cancel culture isn't feeling injustice. That's true. Yeah, I would agree that not everybody who's a part of that culture are not being served injustice or treated the way that they're trying to get mad at other people for. You know, there's probably a lot of people that aren't. There are probably a lot of privileged people that are probably saying some things. Andre said, like, if I can call myself they and talk in third person, I might do it. Oh my gosh. Lord have mercy. This talk is so deep and good. I was just gonna stop by and say hey and go watch Winter Soldier and Falcon. Now I'm stuck. It's the whole point, Hellfire. That's the whole point. That's what the Power Hour is for, man. It's here to have good discussions and dialogue about conversations that matter. You know what I mean? And for us to grow from them. Like right now, Andre's being educated. You see, Andre's being educated. I'm getting some educated pieces already too from some of this, man. So like learning about some of that you know, little pieces that I didn't really think about. So, which is good, you know what I mean? But like for the most part, man, it's to talk about stuff that, you know, again, like we don't really talk about, but because it is risque conversations, cancel culture, nobody wants to talk about it. Or if they do, it just gets very, yeah, it's like, I don't want to talk long on it. You know what I mean? They is used because it's the best non-gendered pronoun we have. We need a Carolina meetup. We represent North Carolina and South Carolina. Well, Athena, we are working on that right now. We're working on a power up meetup is what it's called. And it's going to be literally a lot of the community that's here is like a lot of people in my stream. Majority of the time in this community that's part of the Power Up fam is North Carolina. And there's people obviously on other states and other places, but we are going to be doing a Power Up meetup very soon. Probably next week, we're going to announce the very first one. So if you want in on the deets, be sure you're joined up on the Discord or follow me on social media or whatever, because it's coming and it's going to be dope. So if you're in Carolina and you want to link up and finally meet some of these screen names in person, it's going to be really dope. So we're going to actually try to do a thing called Fam Fest that we're working on too. That's going to be like where the Power Up fam does like a weekend long event where people from all over different states are part of this community. We're going to link up and have like a weekend long of some sweet events, cookouts, and go to different places, go do different things, different events, and it's gonna be fun. So Lexi, everybody in the chat, you guys are all invited. It'll be fun. Nice. Andre, if you want to come all the way from St. Louis, make that move, man. Make that move. I think Andre just needs to move to Carolina. I think that's just what you need to do, bro.
He does.
Stop.
Just come on down.
Stop playing. Clubhouse is teaching me more than the news, right? Hey, Clubhouse is real, man. iPhone users in the building, baby. Clubhouse is crazy. I'm still not as active as I'd like to be, because man, I'm working on so many things at once, and being a husband and a father to 3 little girls is a lot. On top of doing full-time content creation and music, and it's a lot. You know. Athena said you can go by they and them whenever you want. No one is forcing you to be he or him. This is true. What have I walked into? Mike Dex. This is the Power Hour, man. First one of 2021, Mike Dex. And we're talking about cancel culture, man. So get in the chat if you are in the chat and you're viewing this. Make yourself welcome. Make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you're over to go over to LexytheNOOB on twitch.tv. Give her a follow as well, man. This is our first time in person talking and doing this, man. So Lexi's wanting to get into doing more conversations, I think, like this, and so I invited her on the first Power Hour of 2021, which has been great. So yeah, go and show her some love, guys. Some people just want to watch people fall regardless. I don't disagree with that. Yeah, they do. And that's across the board. That's not just the straight conservative side. There's people that are hard left, you know what I mean, that want to see the same thing, you know what I mean. And that's why for me, I'm in the middle. I'm literally in the middle. I'm like, I'm not right or left wing. I'm like right here. If y'all want to know Justin's political stance, right here. I'm in the middle. I'm like, I just can't rock with either, because both of them feel like the devil to me. I can't rock with either one. You know what I mean? So there's good things on each side that I can agree with, and there's a lot of bad things on each side that I can disagree with. And I'm like, this is hard. What do I do? Like, see, I hate that we only have a two-party system, but that's another discussion for another day. Learning is the only way we can figure out and try to back some respect for others. Yeah. I'm watching Falcon and Winter Soldier while watching this. Navy, multitasking at its finest. I love it. A lot of time the news only brings us negative stories and pushes the yeah, I mean, you know, negativity is way better than positivity, right? Like, people, we feed off the negative, like, because the negative is so much more entertaining. Why do we watch reality TV? Right? Like, we watch reality TV because it's fun to watch people fall and do stupid stuff. What? Anomaly just gifted out 5 freaking subs, bro. Let's go. Anomaly, you madman. Thanks, bro. Let's go. Enjoy those subs, people in the chat. I hate coming in late. Mike Dex. Carolina Power Up Squad. Yes, Navy. Facts. Mr. Mittens, what up, man? Athena said, come join the local Carolina Summit as well this weekend. Okay. Hellfire with 200 biddies. Let's go. Thank you, dude. Appreciate that, Hellfire. Weekend of events, it's going to be a blast. Yes, it will be. Athena, send me some information on Twitter or Instagram or something about the, or on my Discord or something about the Carolina Summit. I'm interested in that. Let me know. I remember when I first joined Athena Facebook group, I texted Power Up that I found dope streamers in Carolinas. Now it's all come full circle. Facts, man. Yeah. Bring your butt, man. What are you waiting on? Lots of gaming scene folks meeting too. Definitely down to join the Power Up too. Hey, let's go, Athena. Let's do it. Mike Dex said, I want to move back home because you're all the way in Georgia. You need to move back up. Come back up, bro. When are we doing this again? We are going to be announcing the date probably next week, Lord willing. That is the goal, that next week we will announce when the first official Power Up meetup will be. It's going to be next month. I will say it will be in April, either in the middle around the 16th or it'll be at the end. All right, so go ahead and schedule a weekend. Get ready to look at your calendar and be like, do I have a weekend in the middle or end of April that I could get off? And just get ready to hit that launch button when we announce it. So then I met Athena Crew, who I built the community with. So this collab is so surreal to me. I was telling Lexi that I was like, look, it's crazy because I was like, man, Andre's so hype about this stream because he's like, man, 2 of my friends are doing a stream together. This is awesome. I'm so excited. And you know, here we are.
Here we are.
Making it happen.
You're talking about my crew, the Athena Alliance.
That's your crew?
You know, gaming. Yeah, that's my crew.
Hey, dope. Hey, okay.
I am
That's
But yeah,
awesome.
they're a female gaming organization from the Carolinas.
Okay.
And yeah, they're pretty dope.
Shout
That's what
out,
he's talking
shout
about.
out.
He's met like a bunch of us and collabed with
Hey.
us from there.
Well, thank you guys, man. Let's get a shout out to Athena Alliance. Can we get that in the chat, please? Can we give a shout out? And a shout out once again to Lexi after that. Let's shout them out. That'd be dope. Green sesame chicken. What's going on, man? Okay, Athena, you got me on Discord. Oh, I think you guys shouted them out back to back, and it's like overlapping. I don't think the Athena. You got to do them. You gotta let one play out, and then you got to do another one, or else they overlap. So you gotta. We put out Athena's. That was their shout out. Now you gotta give a proper shout out, power up shout out to. There you go. There it is.
Thank you.
Hellfire, the giveaway tonight is at 9 o'clock. We are doing 5,000 V-Bucks giveaway at 9 p.m. So in an hour and 10 minutes, 3,000, or is it? Yeah. No, 5,000 V-Bucks, sorry. 5,000 V-Bucks for Fortnite. We've been playing a lot of Fortnite lately, man, because my 8-year-old, well, she turns 9 tomorrow, loves Fortnite and got me hooked onto it. And now I play it with her. We've already went to 2 tournaments locally. We won the first one together. It was amazing. And now my wife plays, and my 5-year-old. All my ladies in the house, in my house, literally. I have 3 little girls, and they my newest one is 6 months old. So my 2 oldest ones and my wife now all play Fortnite. And so now I'm stuck playing Fortnite because it's just too much fun with them, right? I get to play with my wife and my kids. Like, why not, you know? The day North Carolina gets an NSA site, I'm home within a week. No cap. Facts, Mike. Bring it. Just saying it looks like the end of April or first weekend of May. That, oh, man. Yeah, message me the deets, Miss Weekly. Message me the deets. Angelic Layla is from there, too. Okay, man. See, a lot of Carolina people. Let's go. There you go. There you go. Just followed Athena and support to come next week. Let's go. Let's go, Navy. Yeah, Athena, absolutely. Absolutely. Much love, man. Gotta represent for the Carolina ladies, you know? Represent. I'm not, you know, I don't identify as a lady, but I, you know, at the end of the day, shout out, because I have a house full of ladies, so I have mad respect for the ladies, you know? I have to. You know, like, there's no choice but for me to respect the ladies, because I got 3 of them in my
your house.
I have 4 of them in my house. If you count the wife too, right? She's here,
4.
so it's like, bruh, I'm surrounded. People always like, Justin, you gonna try for a 5th, try for a 4th baby, and try for a boy? I said, probably not. Nope. It's no luck. Nothing but X chromosomes coming out your boy. It's not happening. We ain't. I don't think I'm trying to do this anymore. And I'm getting too old, man. Trying to stay up late with these babies when they're newborns is too much. I'm like, waking up every 2 hours is rough. I'm like, I need sleep, man. I need sleep. I done been through this 3 times. I don't want to do it no more. God, give me a pillow. Facts.
You can get a male dog, and there you go.
Well, the funny thing is we had a male dog. That's what's crazy. We had a male dog, and my wife, come to find out, is not a very dog person, okay? And we found that out, and I'm like, this sucks. And so now we had to get rid of the dog, and thankfully the dog went to a very good home and to great people. So he's he's with he's in great hands, okay? So at least that happened. So let me see. Hey, Lexi and Athena got some surprises coming next Friday. Hey, Navy, go ahead. Yeah, always count the wife. Always, man. And you'll see my wife up here. Sometimes we do streams together. Like this. We'll get on the Power Hour discussions together. And we've had, like, relationship talk. Is well, real relationships. So we talk about relationship from a real, like, married. We've been married 10 years. And 3 little girls, and you know, we've been through our journey, and we want to try to, I'm a very big advocate for marriage and for relationships and all that stuff, man. So one of the things I try to like do on the Power Hours, we try to talk about that every once in a while, where we get on here and because I think everybody desires to be in a relationship, so we talk about it. It's like, let's talk about that, you know, because it's a real thing, you know. So yeah, Miss Weekly is you know, she's one of our greatest mods here, man. She's top notch, man. She is amazing. JR Weekly is Miss Weekly. She's also AKA Gaming Mom. She is literally our mom, in like the power up mom is what I call it, the team mom. She's our power up team mom, and she is always in great spirits, loves everybody, and just does so much for this community. And she's in every stream. She's killing it. She's everything, man. Couldn't do this without you, Miss Weekly. And I'm glad you found another Carolina group of women, the Athena Alliance, that you can maybe attach yourself to too, and meet some other girl gamers, man. So that's dope. Yeah, exactly. It'll be my luck to get another girl. Facts. That would be my luck, Andre. The fact that your girls can kill me in Fortnite is mind-blowing. This is true, Andre. This is true. My 8-year-old will body you. Don't sleep, man. Them little 9-year-old hands, man. You gonna catch them. But I'm always looking for nice people to play with, and this is the best group ever. I love this community. Yeah, man. It's so good, man. As a full-time streamer, content creator, like, this community, I always say it, man. The Twitch fam is the best fam in all the Twitch land. I'm telling you, like, it is crazy over here. So much love, so much good, positive vibes, man. And everybody's been accepted in here, man. Like, nobody gets pushed away. I'm not like, yo, like, and that's the thing too, like, we may have different views, and that's cool. You're still welcome here, right? As long as we can learn to, like, okay, we don't really agree on the same political stance, or we don't agree on this, but you're human and I'm human. You love games, I love games. Let's just play and hang out and get to know each other, man, and just hang out and just see where the rest takes us. And it's been beautiful. It's been absolutely beautiful, man. Love this community for sure. Them X chromosomes are just built different in this power up guy. Listen, man, my boys ain't strong swimmers, my guy. They choke out trying to get to the finish line. They're like, I'm dead, I'm out. I'm like, dang it. What? How we yo, y'all don't even want to know, man. That's a different conversation for another day, but y'all don't even want to know, man. I've literally thought about a billion different ways that I could probably try. I'm like, yo, what can I do to try to make a boy happen? I need a little homie, man. And I'm like, seems like nothing I can do unless I spend 50 grand to do it. And I'm like, nope, I don't want to do that.
No.
Like, I literally would feel bad because my son would come out and he'd get in trouble. I'd be like, look, son, I paid for you. Like, like you can't push back on me but so much anymore. I literally paid for this, man. There's no insurance on you either. Like, nah, I'm just kidding. We have Medicaid. You're good. You're good. All right. Oh my goodness, man. We love that this week. We have over 100 moms with us. That's so dope. Let's go. That's awesome. I'm near Raleigh. Yep. It's not 9 p.m. yet. Yeah, I'm teetering the line, Miss Weekly. I'm sorry. You're right. After 9 p.m., we get a little loose. We're reaching the line. Did you ever get that banana skin? It's about to leave. No, I didn't. I need to get that from Fortnite. Oh, it's in 2 minutes. No. Oh, well. It'll come back later. Summer jeans in their bodying your jeans. Pats versus the Browns. Oh, my gosh, bro. You're ridiculous, man. Yo. That's hilarious. Look, man, it is 8 o'clock. We spent an hour and a half. That's about the time we try to keep it with the Power Hour. Is there any closing statements that you want to make, Lexi, in regards to the conversation tonight, man? Regarding cancel culture, anything you want to you want people to maybe walk away with from your end of what we talked about tonight? What do you want to say closing this thing up? Let you go ahead and share that.
Main thing for me would be kind of think before you try to cancel somebody just based off the statements that they're said. We're all human. We all make mistakes there. And you also got to think about it from your viewpoint. Hey, if this was me, you know, being counseled by somebody based on something either was said falsely or was truly said, you know, how would you want to feel if that was happening to you? So that's my viewpoint and my takeaways from the conversation.
It's good. I like it. My name is Justin Mitchell, and I co-sign everything she just said. I support this message. That's good. Andre, oh, Zay said, I'm glad my third was a boy. Zay, just rub it in. Rub it in, because my third was a girl. Yet again. Thanks. Nah, that's awesome, man. I wish I could say my luck was the same. It just wasn't, you know. I just think it's funny. I think God has a sense of humor. When I said, you know, back in the day, it was like, God, I just want to be surrounded by beautiful women all my life. I didn't mean it like this, God. It's not what I meant, okay? This is not what I had in mind. This is a cruel and evil joke. And, freaking hilarious, man. Mom has to rein the boys in. You see, game of mom has to rein me in. Keep me at bay, Miss Weekly. That's what you're here. You gotta keep me straight. Andre, I'm glad you love the channel still, man. Thank you, brother. You already know. Gotta keep it together. Love being here tonight. Absolutely. In closing, I'm gonna say this, man. There's two things I wanna say. I wrote them down because I didn't want to forget them. Because I had these things written. I was like, I gotta make sure I say these things in closing, man. Is that these things right here is to differ is not to hate, right? I think to differ in opinions, to differ in views, a lot of times, not every time, sometimes differing is hate, right? There are pieces of that. But most of the time, just because somebody has a different viewpoint than the way you do and doesn't see something exactly the way you see it, doesn't equal that they hate you or they hate the person that you're maybe talking about. Cancel culture is birthed from that mindset. Cancel culture is birthed from the mindset of we differ in opinions, so peace out, right? It's birthed from that. Also today, as people tend to get a little loose, people tend to get a little loose when we feel like the facts line up on our side. I think we always have the ability to be like, well, I feel like facts are on my side, so I can be a lot more lenient with the words and the things I say to you because I feel like the facts are with me. And so we just get loose with what we say and a little careless with what we're aiming to say. And the last thing is this, is that just because you have some facts on your side doesn't mean you get to be reckless. I think that's like the biggest takeaway I want to kind of speak on, is that it doesn't mean there's no more accountability for you. Like, just because you have some facts that support a little bit of what you're saying does not give you the right or the privilege to just literally be reckless with your words, reckless with how you care with people. And I think ultimately that leads to the closing final statement of saying, look, man, like, just love people, man. Like, love each other. We got to love each other better, man. 2021, if anything, if 2020 taught me anything, it's like, man, there is so much hate, man, still in our country and in our world, and fighting hate with hate never wins, right? Like, somebody's got to fight the hate with some love, man, and compassion and forgiveness and some kind of respect and grace for the other person. That, just like Lexi said, like, think about yourself and think about, man, like, look at yourself in the mirror. I need to be able to internalize, like, man, I don't always make the right choices either. And maybe this person made a bad decision. And maybe this speaks to somebody in the chat that's been, maybe you're going through something that's dealing with cancel culture. Maybe you, maybe me, right? Like, people, who have we canceled out in our own lives? Moms, dads, family members, other people that have hurt us. Is it right? Do we just keep hurting them back? How do we, at some point, somebody's got to learn to love and forgive and be the one to continue to reach out. And that's what's going to change, man. Like, the world isn't going to change by hate feeding hate, right? Like, the world's going to change because people find it somewhere within themselves and you know, obviously for me, like my power doesn't come from me. It's my relationship with God. And so that's how I learned how to love people. I learned how to love people because I knew how God loved me. Like, I suck. I make a lot of stupid decisions. I make dumb choices. And I'm like, if God can love me through my crap, he can love you. And it's my job to share that with you and everyone else who ever comes in this room. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter if they line up with everything I agree with or not. Like, I'm still gonna love you. I'm still gonna treat you like a human, and then that you were made in the same image I was made in. And so at the end of the day, man, I love you guys. Thank y'all for coming through. Lexi, you were amazing. Tonight was awesome. Yeah, man. Hopefully you enjoyed this too, man. So
I did. Thank you for allowing me to come on here and be a part of your community for the night.
Yeah, man. Anytime. You're welcome anytime, man. If there's ever any other conversations you wanna fire up on, or if you end up firing up some conversations on your end, on your streams, feel free to let me know. I'd love to come through and talk too, man. I'm always down to, this is something I love to do. So thank you for joining me tonight. First time meeting you officially like this. We've been over Clubhouse and other social media things, but this is the first time officially, man. So cool to know you're from Carolina. Did not know that. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I'm in South Carolina, so yeah, I'm in the better Carolina. Excuse me, you know.
Low key, I agree. Low key.